to the Downtown Scoop, your Downtown Canton Partnership podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Dukes. Why are you making that face, Mike? This is Mike's tournament, guys.
I just realized that we're so in sync now that we're dressing alike when we do this podcast.
I thought that.
I was like, this is how tight we have gotten doing this podcast over the last however many months it's been.
I thought that
we dress alike. It's great. It's great.
I thought that during prep, and I didn't say anything.
I just realized that, like, as the countdown happened, I'm like, wait, look at us. Look at us.
So one, I feel like I wore black like the past 3 times we've done this podcast. I have to go back and look because I literally had this shirt. And I was like, do I keep wearing black shirts? Okay. They're different shirts, but it's whatever. These are pre-recorded, guys. Like, it's a different day. I'm not wearing the same shirts every day. But I could tell by your face there was something like great. That's why I was like, I thought you were gonna get me because I caught myself every time I say scoop, I go downtown scoop. I don't know why it has to go up an octave, but
I did not notice that, but now that's all that I'll hear for the rest of time.
That'll be a fun clip to cut.
Add a couple extra O's in the logo. Scoop.
That's just scoop.
I like that.
I know, right? It rings. We're gonna start singing. We'll exactly. We'll just start singing it.
Well, that's a good lead into our. Look at you.
I did that on purpose. Did you feel it?
That was good. Even if you didn't, we're going to give you credit. That's a good lead into our guest.
I really did. It was on purpose.
I believe you. It's good. That was good.
Thank you.
I'm excited for this one because this is my guy that we're having on. I told you in show prep that we have it's not even a secret bromance. It's a public out there bromance. And this is my dude. I met him a couple years ago volunteering at I almost gave it away, but this organization, and we became great friends. And this is one of my good people in the world, but one of my good people. So I'm excited that we finally get to bring him on our podcast.
I love that we act like we keep these things a tight secret for like the 3 minutes that we open.
Now that I'm thinking about it, like, people are just going to read the title and click it. So
it's so funny how we do that. We do it every time.
That's not going to work quite the way I thought it was. So let's just bring him on, I guess.
All right, guys, welcome Nathan from the Canton Symphony Orchestra.
Hi, buddy. We told you
were too kind, especially you, Mike.
We told you
we do go way back, but.
We told you in show prep, we do a really quick intro, and 11 minutes later, we brought you on.
I just thought you were inspired and had a lot to say. And
always when you're around. It's great.
I have a question before we jump all the way into business for both of you, actually. Mike.
Yes.
Does your other bromances, are they okay?
Hey.
These other bromances? I'm just wondering because...
I don't know what you're talking about.
This is the first time hearing of this.
Other bromances.
I am just as offended at look.
This is now became the hot topic scoop.
I know that there is a lot of you to go around, so I'm not offended that you have others in your life.
Talking about Nathan, don't listen to this.
I'm taking a poll. Any other people that claim to be in a bromance with, let me know if you're okay or how you feel about these other bromances. That's important. Nathan said he's good. He feels like Mike has enough love to give, but it's okay if you don't feel like that. And I want to know how you feel.
I'll just have to be okay with him leaving a long trail of broken hearts. So.
Oh, man.
Nathan knows he's my number one, and that's all I do.
I do feel that.
I'm cutting that clip.
Jeez. No, but I appreciate you guys having me on for sure. It's really an honor to be here. So thank you for the invitation.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming. So Nathan, for those people who don't know you and what you do, could you please let everybody know as my phone rings? Let everybody know who you are, what you do, a little bit of background.
Yeah, well, my full name is Nathan Maslyk. I currently serve as the Director of Marketing and Development at the Canton Symphony Orchestra, which, if you weren't already aware, Canton has one of the most vibrant and dynamic and incredible orchestras in Northeast Ohio, maybe even broader Ohio. And it's really an honor to work and serve here. But before this, I was working at Playhouse Square for a little bit in their season ticket services department. I was at Mercury Theater Company for a while. I did some freelance gigging all around Cleveland and some in Sandusky. And I have basically just done a little bit of everything, I guess, in the nonprofit arts world. I've fundraised, I've performed, I have marketed events, I've put together fundraisers, graphic design, web design. I mean, you name it, I've done it for an organization before. And it's really a great opportunity at the Canton Symphony, especially because I get to use all of those skills that I've developed over the years in a place that really means a lot to me. So I guess in general, I am just a patron of the arts in all of its forms. I can find appreciation in, pretty much anything out there, from the most obscure piece of abstract art to, one of the longest and most brilliant symphonies ever composed. So it means a lot to me. The arts are where it's at. And yeah, I guess a couple personal things. I do have a dog. His name is Herbie. He's a 9-year-old French bulldog. And I live in Akron. So here we are.
We're going to get you back to Canton, though. I keep trying.
I know. And I keep thinking about it every time my lease comes up. But I think when I'm ready to buy a house, we'll be looking further south. So I'm just not ready yet.
Okay. He's not ready. Mike, quit pressuring him.
I put the pressure on.
Well, the pressure's good. I really should be in Canton. There's a lot of things that I don't get to go to, unfortunately, because of where I live. So I want to see a lot more of Mike around town.
I'm the papa.
Right, look.
We can't say that on the podcast. I'm sorry. We're not going to.
Oh, it's okay, Mike.
We've definitely told that line a couple times.
Oh, yeah. You're real friendly here.
You're supposed to be my wing woman, and you are failing. Look at you.
That's because you keep bringing on all your bromances.
What can she do? I mean, come on.
I'm here for the people, Mike.
This is my favorite episode yet. This is great. Back on track. So it's funny to me because you mentioned, and this blows my mind because I know in speaking with you and some of your coworkers that people may not know that we have this amazing symphony, or so many people do not know that we have a symphony and how fantastic it is. So can you give people maybe a quick history of the symphony, but two, just some cool facts, because I know personally, just to lead you into it, that the symphony is not just made of people from Canton, things like that. Just I'm going to turn it over to you to kind of fill people in because you do it better than me, but just fill the gap for people that maybe don't know that we have an incredible symphony here.
Sure. Absolutely. So to keep a long story short, I'll just kind of hit a couple of the highlights, like you said. But we were founded in 1938 under the direction of Richard Oppenheim, who was our first ever music director of the Canton Symphony Orchestra.
And at the time, director name.
It does. And a lot of our music directors have music director names, quote unquote. So you would think, but so it was a small community ensemble at that time. Everybody was paid, but it wasn't to the sense of unionization, like what happened. I'm not exactly sure when we unionized, but it has been that way for the past 30 to 40 years, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. But since 1938, we have grown from that very small community orchestra into what is now considered a level 5, according to the League of American Orchestras, regional orchestra. So we serve Stark County primarily, but we get patrons as far north as Cleveland, Toledo, and as far south as like Cincinnati, Kentucky, over into West Virginia. So we serve a very wide geographic area. And we actually overlap with a couple other orchestral markets of significance in the United States, that being the Akron Symphony Orchestra and, of course, the Cleveland Orchestra. So we are very lucky to be in a very vibrant arts corridor that has been incredibly supportive of not only just the Canton Symphony Orchestra, but just the arts in general in Northeast Ohio. And we can't get quite into that right now, but it's a conversation that I love to talk about, of just how special Northeast Ohio is in terms of arts funding. But at the Canton Symphony, we are primarily focused on providing educational and entertainment programming to the people of Stark County. And what that means is we have several different series and initiatives that we do to put our programming out in the community, that being the Masterwork series, which is kind of like our quote unquote bread and butter of the organization, which is our classical and contemporary favorites, including things like the big great works of Beethoven, Bach, Mozart, and such, all the way up to contemporary works by both well-known and unknown composers, such as like we have it's escaping me from the top of my head, but we've worked with Quinn Mason over the past couple of years. We've worked with, she's a Cleveland composer. I can't remember her name, and I apologize. But we commission usually 2 to 3 new works every year, just to kind of keep things relevant and modern, and let folks know that, hey, classical music is a genre that is being contributed to by people in modern society, as well as some people who were forgotten or underappreciated or plainly discriminated against over the past several hundred years that the classical music form has existed. So one of the things we're doing now as an organization is making sure that we are balancing the scales, so to speak, of, yes, we love to showcase the greats and very traditional favorites, but there's also some space to be had for all cultures that have contributed to the canon. So we're focusing on composers, guest artists, who are underappreciated or underrepresented in the orchestral canon and in the industry. So over the past, since we came back from 2020, from the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, we've doubled down on that initiative, and it's really shown us some incredible results from the community. And so how many people are participating with our programming, how many people are donating. And over the past 3 years, we have experienced a period of significant growth, despite the industry standard across the country being relatively in a state of decline in the classical music industry. So we're very proud of that fact, but we understand that that is the road is still very long to go until we get to that quote unquote destination of solvency, success, and community relevance. So we serve about 16 to 20,000 people per year of all ages, whether that be people attending the Masterwork series, the Pop series, or what we're going to talk about today, the Divergent Sound Series. And just to kind of segue into that, if it's that time.
You're doing great. Go ahead.
Okay, like I said, I can keep going.
Well, before you go, I actually have a really funny story that's slightly embarrassing and doesn't make me seem like the most educated person as it comes to this kind of music. Please. So maybe a couple years ago, I was there, and I think it was one of the Beethoven. I think it might have been the Beethoven. It was like sold out, like packed. And I was like standing in the back, and I was like watching, and like the symphony was on the stage. And for those of you that don't know, the symphony plays at Umstead Hall at Amanda and I's old stopping grounds, McKinley.
Yeah.
And the symphony's on the stage, and there's a group of people like sitting behind them in chairs. And for whatever reason, idiot me thought that was like a VIP section, and those are people enjoying. And all of a sudden,
time it was, but carry on.
And all of a sudden, in unison, they all popped up and started singing, and it scared the living hell out of me. And then I realized that I'm an idiot, and those people were actually part of the orchestra in the show. And I realized in that moment that I'm severely uneducated when it comes to good music like this. And
instead of like a flash mob dance.
Yeah, exactly. And just like all of a sudden, they all just popped up and just started singing, and I was like, oh, and I'm not going to repeat what I said because it's not family friendly. And I was like, what, dude, what's wrong with you?
Well, you know,
so, what am I?
Well, generally speaking,
yes.
If everyone is wearing the same clothes,
yeah,
they are.
I guess could have been a giveaway. I just thought they were just like sharply dressed people, right? I'm like, listen, if you're paying for VIP ticket symphony, you're probably going to wear your finest tuxedo. I didn't say it made sense and that it should make sense to anybody else. I just said I'm not the smartest. And I'm willing to tell embarrassing stories about myself on camera. I don't care.
Well, I'm glad you did. Because I want to take this opportunity to just like respond to the tuxedos in relation to the Canton Symphony Orchestra specifically. That's an image we're really trying to get away from as an organization.
Not helping, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. And that's not what I was saying here. What I'm really saying is that there is a general air of poshness when it comes to classical music in general and symphonies in general. And as part of our just new initiatives from 2020 and how we're really focusing on composers, guest artists who are from underappreciated or undiscovered sources, part of that initiative is making sure that the Canton Symphony Orchestra is open and accessible to all people. That includes price, that includes messaging that we're putting out in the community, that includes the type of programming that we're doing. We're trying to be, in all aspects, more reflective of the very vibrant and diverse community that we're serving. And historically, we were not very good at doing that. So as we are pursuing programming like Gospel Joint Symphony or Ragtime, the Symphonic Concert, or, just on October 12th, our opening Masterworks concert of the year with Grandma Connie Mason, who is a Black British violinist who will be joining us for that first concert.
I was
and also our Divergent
for this show, and I was reading up on that, and I thought that was fascinating. Sorry to cut you off, but I like that specific thing I was reading. I was like, that sounds really cool. My son, he took violin last year at school. He goes to Arts Academy. And so I love that he just wanted to learn it. And it was so cute. And I went to their little concert, their little orchestra concert that they had. And I just thought it was so fascinating just to see different spaces. He chose clarinet this year. I love that he's he's trying different things while he can. But I think that was incredible. So yeah, I just wanted to say that because I was reading, I was like, oh, this is neat.
Exactly. And we want to introduce, especially younger generations to what we have going on. And I think just the general culture of classical music and symphonic music in general over the past, several decades has been very exclusive while combating the general societal status quo of trying to be more accepting. Yes. So it was this weird dichotomy for a while where most of the organizations and arts institutions were trying to be more welcoming while the classical music industry was taking its sweet old time. So that's something that we are very focused on and are very passionate about. And I think that is very much reflected in our social media presence and our website. If anybody disagrees with me, let me know, because we are always striving for incremental improvement and just being the best organization that we can be.
Well, you guys have a podcast also centered around that as well.
Mm-hmm. We certainly do.
Happening that Rachel and Matthew is on. So, I mean, you dedicated an entire segment to that, which I think is fantastic.
I love that.
And thank you for mentioning that. Orchid, we have a podcast. Go ahead. Sorry.
I said, we got you. Don't worry. We set you up. We're like, you do. Ball. You just got to knock it out of the park. We just loft the ball to you.
Hey, I appreciate that. We have a podcast called Orchestrating Change. This is something that we started during the pandemic because there wasn't really much else that we could do. And we have had some incredible guests on there. We've had the president and CEO of the League of American Orchestras. We've had Grammy award-winning artists. We've had people who are very respected in academia. So just pretty much runs the gamut of identifying people who are like key stakeholders and also key makers of change in the classical music industry and the music education field. So those types of folks are who we're talking to and trying to get real direct feedback for what everyone else is doing, as classical music has greatly focused on trying to be more accessible and inclusive to the communities that we serve. So Orchestrating Change is very much an effort to facilitate those conversations in a way that's healthy and in a way that's productive, and also in a way that's brutally honest. We talk about some pretty serious things in Orchestrating Change sometimes, and it gets sorry, I'm digging a little bit.
No, you're okay.
I love it. No, go ahead.
It gets really, what's the right word? Intense really isn't the right word because it's not in a negative way. It's in a really inspiring.
There's a good intense feeling.
Yes.
So then I think intense, it works, but I hear what you're saying. Like, it's not a negative aspect. It's like a passionate, like you get passionate. So that intensity spews out of that as far as the seriousness of whatever it is that you're talking about. So no, I love that.
It's really, really rewarding to put that together and present that out in the community. We have just surpassed 15,000 total downloads, which we were very proud of.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
I need sound effects.
I know, right? You're such a niche podcast. I will take that well and truly.
I love that, actually. I really want to take a moment to applaud you sincerely and everybody who you work with, because again, this is one of my favorite things about the favorite thing about doing this podcast is literally the reason that we do it is to learn these type of things. So our community understands and knows that there is change to be made in several different aspects. Your voices are not unheard. Maybe you're not hearing and seeing what people are doing at the moment, but maybe we don't know where to look to see what's changing, how people are listening, what different programs and different incentives are being put in place all around the community in all different aspects. Because who knew that you guys were putting forth this effort to be like, no, like we want everybody to be included. We want diversity. We want everybody to feel welcome. We want them to have the opportunity. This is not just for this type of class of people in person and things and backgrounds. This is for everybody. If you like it, if you have a gift, if you want to try it. I am absolutely grateful for that. It means a lot, especially for someone who has kids, who is growing up in I would hope to be a more diverse community. But again, all these things that they may want to do or not want to do, they need to know that they have options, and that there are absolutely things that are being put in place here, and it's more than tangible, it's more than reachable, and I love that. So thank you to you, thank you to the team and whole Canton Symphony Orchestra, who are really putting forth that effort, and I'm really looking forward to tuning into this podcast.
Amanda, you've just made me feel all warm and fuzzy.
You should.
The why of what we do. I mean, I don't know what the general, like, if you ask anybody on the streets of Canton what their opinion is of the Canton Symphony Orchestra, I would hope that at least that kind of messaging is making it into people's minds and hearts when we're putting this programming out into the community. And I mentioned something earlier about incremental improvement. And we know that something like this is not going to, permeate into the ether overnight and change the world. But we want to make sure that we are just continuously shouting from the rooftops that, hey, we are here. We have something for everyone, and all of you are welcome here. And as long as we keep doing that, I think that over the next several years, as we are continuously trying to be more efficient with our marketing, as we're trying to find new areas for reaching people, as we're exploring new programming that might inspire somebody to attend for the first time or actually participate with the Canton Symphony, all of that happens over time. And over the past 3-4 years, we have seen that well and truly. So I'm hoping that this next year very much continues the trend. And if things are going like they're going, I'm pretty excited that will continue in a very, very meaningful way. So
I love the intentionality. Thank you. Like that means a lot to everybody. That within itself is inspiring, whether they know anything about the Canton Symphony Orchestra, whether they ever watch one show or attend an event. I think that knowing that too can just simply inspire somebody. Like, okay, you're providing hope, whether you realize it or not. Like that, it gives people hope, because if something like the Canton Symphony Orchestra could see that there's inclusivity that's needed and diversity, then what's stopping from all the other mainstream things that people actually attend on a more mainstream basis, I guess. So I'm floored. I'm like so touched right now. I could go on for days just of the appreciation, because I did not know that coming into this. I did know that you were putting on different type of events to reach different audiences, but to really feel and know the intentionality behind it, it's incredible. So tell us a little bit about the up and coming diversity show that you guys have coming up.
Yes, the reason why we're here.
I know, because I'll go on. I'll get in my hole. You want to talk about?
I told you I can ramble.
I know you want to talk about intense passion. I was about to go there. Yes, also, Mike. Sorry.
To recap the first half of the show, the Symphony has a podcast that brings on Grammy Award winners. We have a podcast that brings on everybody in my bromance circle. So you
probably have more downloads.
You just gave us life goals for this podcast, and we appreciate that. So thank you for that. But like,
you would be so surprised at what you can get if you could just ask.
Exactly. I got you on here just by asking, so that's perfect. So as Amanda said, you guys, you are on the Downtown Scoop podcast, which means obviously you guys are centered at McKinley High School and then the Zimmerman Center. But we would not have you on the podcast if you were not doing some exciting things in downtown Canton. So we are going to I'll stop interrupting and turn the floor over back to you.
I told you can interrupt me anytime. So this is all well and good. But the reason why we're here today is to talk about our Divergent Sound Series, which is a very special series. If you've never heard of it before, it's very unique in the sense that we pair our Canton Symphony Orchestra musicians from various sections. They can be string instruments, they can be brass instruments, they can be woodwinds or percussion. And we pair them with local artists of all sorts. This year, we are partnering with Marcus Smith, who is a singer-songwriter slash multi-instrumentalist out of Cleveland. We have Frail, which is a doom metal band that we are welcoming in November, right after Halloween. We have Soleo, who is a Middle Eastern fusion band that has influences of pop, progressive rock, and there was another genre thrown in there that I don't recall off the top of my head. I apologize. But we have another familiar name with the Jen Mara project, who usually plays with her bigger ensemble, Mojo Jojo. Is that the correct? Is it Mojo Jojo? I think that I said it right the first time. And then we have Josie McGee, who has actually been a performer of the Divergent Sound Series before, but she was singing and playing a guitar for Ben Gage at a different engagement. So it's a very exciting series in the sense that you never really know what's going to happen when you combine those different types of bands and different styles of music with classical instruments. I will say that for the first time this year, we are doing a metal band, which will be very interesting. Metal is one of my favorite genres. I actually got this little scar here in a pit at the House of Blues in Cleveland.
Oh, no.
Believe it or not. But I think Frail has a really unique sound, and I'm particularly excited for them. But Marcus Smith is somebody who we're incredibly excited about. He is very well known in Cleveland. He is a teacher. He is a coach. And he's a very busy guy, but somehow he still finds time to perform all of his various music around Northeast Ohio and beyond. That is on October 3rd. It's the first Divergent Sounds concert of the season. And we are incredibly excited to work with him and hope that we can get a bunch of people down there to celebrate not only Marcus Smith, but the series in general of pairing local artists with classical instruments of whatever they choose. We say it's where classical meets the unexpected in the sense, because we've had some unique and really cool moments over the years as we put this series out. It started in 2018 with a partnership between the Summit radio station and the Canton Symphony Orchestra, as they helped us identify those bands in the past. And nowadays, they very much help us with promotion of the Divergent Sound Series. Every now and again, they'll still suggest bands or ensembles or individual artists for us to work with. But it's very much a marketing and support partnership these days. And we're very, very thankful to work with them. And we also have CIRAC Financial Services, who came on board this past year as a presenting sponsorship for the first time after we did lose some long-term funding for the series. But it's alive and well. We have a new partnership with the Auricle venue and bar in downtown Canton. Josh Brewer is an incredible human being that we absolutely love working with. He is so easygoing and he is so excitable about everything that we're doing. And so when he was helping us pick out these bands this year, it just felt right having it have its home at the Auricle. And as we have moved to the Auricle last year, we have seen the series grow significantly since we came back from the COVID-19 pandemic. I keep mentioning that, but it was such a intense and challenging time for a lot of people, but especially people in the arts who couldn't do anything really. I mean, everything that we do all of a sudden had to be either translated into a digital form or simply not happen. But the Divergent Sound Series experienced a bit of a lull after the pandemic. And so once we moved it to the Auricle and totally rethought of how we're promoting it. Oh, were you guys still there?
Yeah.
Oh, for some reason my screen went black. I'm not sure why.
We see you.
Okay. I can't see you, but we'll just go with it.
That Canton Symphony Wi-Fi you got over there letting you down.
I know it's usually pretty good, but here we are. But yeah, since it came back to since it started being performed at the Auricle, we have seen a very sizable increase in attendance, which I think is just a direct reflection of how vibrant downtown Canton is and how many people love going to live events, especially those who get last minute tickets, which isn't our favorite. But hey, we're glad you're coming.
Listen, we're a city full of last minute ticket buyers, but we're hoping that shit's
come on in.
Listen,
we're having a good time.
Exactly.
But
I can tell you. Sorry, good.
Please.
So I've attended 2 of these. One was at the Zimmerman Center with Jenny George, who I think is still one of your board members.
Certainly is. Jennifer George.
That was, I think it's Indre. Was that the band?
Indre. Yes.
Which was fantastic. And that was my first time experiencing it. And that was at the Zimmerman. And then last year, obviously, I went to see my dear friend Anya Van Rose at Auricle. And both were equally as cool. But Auricle is just, man, it's got a different vibe to it, right? And
it's the right vibe
for
the series.
It's the perfect event or venue for this type of event. Like it was so cool. And it was like you said, you're not going to find a better whole local bands with symphony performers in the way that you guys do it. And it just, the Auricle is such a cool place. It's got an amazing stage. It's like the perfect size venue for this type of event. Like you don't want it too big. You don't want it too small. Like you could not have, if you put an event center together and you built this from scratch, I don't think you could find a better venue than the Auricle for this. So we're really thankful that you are downtown more, and you've done some things with the Nutcracker and things like that. So anytime we can get the symphony downtown, it's amazing. But Auricle is just such a perfect spot for this, and it really came through on that show last year.
Well, thank you, Mike. And thank you for being there. I know Anya Van Rose was a highlight from last year, as it was the one that sold out. It actually got a couple of tickets past sold out, but
that's all right. You get that money. Get that money.
Oh, yes, exactly. So yeah, this year we actually have these artists have a little bit, on average, larger following than those we've welcomed in the past. So I'm hoping that translates to higher ticket sales, but we will find out very shortly. Now, won't we? So
listen,
guys, get on your tickets. Don't wait till the last minute.
Exactly.
Where can they get the tickets? Let's start there.
Absolutely. So go to cantonsymphony.org. That has, on our main homepage, a list of just all events that are up and coming within the next couple of months or so. But if you navigate in our menu or just scroll down to the first Divergent Sounds concert, that will take you to a place where you can view the full schedule of the series. We play 5 concerts from between now and next May. So there's plenty of opportunities to come check us out. And like I said, there's something here for everybody. So if there's a particular genre that you are privy to, we are probably going to cover that with a Divergent Sound series this year. And if there's not, try something new. I mean, this is a very unique series that is partnering with local musicians at a local establishment in downtown Canton. And we're trying to find what happens when you combine that sound with classical instruments. So come on down and discover it with us.
I know that I'm not the only one sitting here thinking, maybe not you guys, but I mean, me and the other common folk. The other common folk. When we talk about pairing different sounds with symphony music and instruments, that typical sound, my mind goes straight to, Lord forgive me, Bridgerton, and how they paired regular mainstream songs and they put them to this classical sound. And I happen to be like such a fan of that. I used to put it on. Somebody told me that like classical music, my daughter, she would have a hard time focusing when she had to do homework at home. And like you said, like the pandemic and everything, most of her stuff was being done from home, a lot of the online stuff. So they told me to try and play like classical music in the background. She's like, Mom, I don't like this. I was like, well, let me try this. And we ended up loving it. We would just listen to it in the background like all the time. So I am here for pairing it with all different sounds. I want to hear how well it sounds, because who would have thought I would prefer that over sometimes that music, how it just, it fluctuated. It hits your feels in a different manner than the original one. And I love that. I'm artistic at heart. So, and I go off of a vibe and a feeling, and that was different. And I really liked it. So come down to the Divergent Sound Series and explore some different sounds with us, because it sounds like a great time.
Well, it sounds like Amanda just signed up for a 2024-2025 season. So make sure to send her invoice as soon as this ends.
You got it. Listen,
it's at dukesmedia.com.
No, but for real, Amanda, if you ever want to come down and check out a concert, just let me know. We'll get you in. Especially since children's tickets are always free. So free to the Masterwork series. Yes.
Oh, that would be so cool. I love doing different stuff like that. And I think that my kids like experiencing different things too, whether they're like, Mom, don't ever take me back, or like, they're like, oh, that was pretty cool. Like it gives, again, you open their perspective, you broaden their perspective in the things that are possible and things that they can do. Who knows what type of inspiration, what kind of seeds are going to be planted when you do things like that. I am all for it. So yes. Yeah. I'm there. I love it. And don't tell me there's nothing to do. We just gave y'all at least one thing a month to do, just so we're clear. Me and Mike usually go on this rant at the very end, but it makes sense. We're going to put it up one more time. Y'all see the dates? That's October, November, January, March, and May. You get a break in February, but there's things to do still, so don't get us started. There's plenty of things to do and things going on. Different stuff. You'll get bored with the same old. I always hear you guys saying it's the same stuff to do. This is not the same stuff. This is very different. Come out, let us know how you like it. Try something different. Like it's gonna be great. Okay, rant over for now. We all know we just put a pause on that rant. We do it all the time.
Why did we pass over February? December makes sense, but what was the
February? I was going to ask him after we were done.
Oh, yeah, that's an awful. Sorry.
He called you out, so now you have to answer.
Sorry, we're going to pass that on.
It's fine. I'll answer.
I brought up before you got on. I was like, we're pulling the graphic. I'm like, where's February at?
Hell, February is a very challenging month for us that we have, I think.
It's cold.
Yeah. Well, we have two concerts in the Masterwork series that month. And if I recall correctly, right in that first week of March is another Employers Health Pop Series concert. So we just wanted to put ourselves a little buffer there. Same thing with April. April is also a notoriously busy month for us as an organization. So
they're busy, Mike.
Too much overtime. We don't want you guys working too much overtime. Y'all are on salary. We get it.
Mike. Well, a lot of us are exempt, so overtime doesn't exist. It's do it until you get the job done.
Mark is fine. Cancel
that. The limit does not exist.
The limit does not exist. Although after this past year, with some adjustments from our federal government, that limit is actually raised. So a lot of people here are starting to clock in now because they are within that window of needing to keep track of those things. But unfortunately for me, I still have to not do that.
That money, Jake. I told you, get that money. We know.
Yeah, I'll make my money very happily. So, yeah.
Nathan, it's been an absolute pleasure. I want to remind you guys that you can also follow the Canton Symphony Orchestra on Facebook. They have updates again to keep track of what they have going on. They have a ton of stuff already on the books and scheduled, so you could start planning. You can go to their website, like he explained earlier, too, to find all of those events. Literally scroll and click. I just did it. This is how I know. I promise you, it's so simple. I love a simple to use site, just so we're clear. You scroll, you click. That's on the event is a picture and everything. You don't even have to click a link. It's a whole picture you can click on, and it goes to that, and they'll tell you what it's about, who's performing, and some of their backgrounds, and how to get tickets. So make sure you guys go and check that out. Nathan,
don't be afraid to call us either. We're happy to talk on the phone.
Nathan likes to talk, guys.
Nathan's about to give his direct number out to people.
Hey, if that makes the Canton Symphony Orchestra a buck, I will happily do that. So.
I love how we just have the most passionate people on here. You can just tell, you guys just enjoy what you do, and it's it matters. It matters to you, and I just think that is. I think people think that that's like a dying breed here and everywhere, honestly. And every single person that we have talked to, starting with the very first episode with Courtney, with what she does at the downtown. Canton partnership all the way to this one, single person. You guys you care. It's a passion, and what you're doing matters. And you can tell how somebody takes care of something is how much that they care about it. And it's inspiring, and it's a pleasure to be able to speak with those people. Because again, you instill something in other people when you share that. Like, I don't care what it is, whether I don't like instruments. I didn't like playing instruments. But to hear somebody play the instrument and their gift and their passion, it is inspiring. It's inspiring me to be passionate about whatever it is I want to be passionate about. And so like, this is why we share these gifts and we attend these events and we take our young people so they can do it too, because they need to know they have to figure it out. And if nothing else, this world needs hope and it needs inspiration. And we have brought you so many people that provide all of that, Canton.
And a bit of music, Amanda. We need to throw music in there.
Always music. Listen, it starts and ends with music with me, always.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
I'm proud that we've had an entire episode we haven't rambled about food trucks. Like,
we haven't talked about food this whole time.
Page, man. We're turning the page on this one. For those of you that watch our podcast.
So Nathan, are there food trucks at these events?
No. We've thought about putting together a music festival in our big giant parking lot out there, but nothing has come to fruition yet, unfortunately.
When you go to the Divergent Sound Series, you can hit up downtowncanton.com and find a list of all of the amazing restaurants that you can visit and support before you go to the Divergent Sound Series.
Way to knock it out the park, Mike. That was a good alley-oop. That was good.
And be sure to go to my personal favorite, Carpe Diem coffee shop.
That's where we have all of our meetings, both of you.
Every time we get on here, we tell our guests, like, we just wanted to feel like you met us at a coffee shop and you're telling us about your event. And let's just be all the way clear. When we say that, in our minds, we are 110% are thinking Carpe Diem. Like, you've seen us at Carpe, which honestly, a lot of these conversations have actually been had there. So, like,
Kathy are just like the best people I've ever met. So it's just easy to, go on in there and enjoy the beautiful ambiance that they have created at that coffee shop. I mean, they're wonderful and wonderful for downtown Canton.
This podcast was formed on the big glass table under the upside down Christmas tree.
It was.
It's fantastic.
It was.
I have a question for you, and I hope that it's a yes, because I should have asked you this before we came on. But last year was the first time, and I don't even know how many of you correct me, that the symphony once again joined forces with the ballet for the Nutcracker at the Palace. Is that collaboration happening again this year?
Well, I will be glad to tell you that yes, that collaboration is happening again.
Is that
and we'll be performing for all the concerts that are presented.
Is that actually announced, or did I just leak something out?
I believe the ballet has announced it already.
Okay, because if not,
yeah.
Sorry, ballet. We leaked the info here.
Breaking news here on the downtown.
I realized that when you kind of paused for a second, I was like, maybe I wasn't supposed to ask that. Like, maybe that was. But that was something that I know was wildly popular last year, and I'm really glad.
For good reason. I mean, it's a match made in heaven. It's much like our recent collaboration with the Players Guild. When we combine our artistic forces and pursue things that, celebrate and highlight each art form, I mean, everybody's winning. The organizations are winning, the cultural impact is winning, and the community wins too. So, I mean, it's just, you're getting the best quality artistic expressions in Canton. And I wish people would recognize that and pay more attention to that. And again, really, well and truly.
Matches made in heaven, like Divergent, the Auricle, the ballet, the symphony, and the Palace Theater for the Nutcracker. Yes. Like, you're not going to find a better, like, you couldn't write that script. Right? Like,
powerful together, Mike. You know this more than anybody.
Yeah. Most times, but yes. But I just think it's awesome that it's spectacular, and I just love that you guys are getting so ingratiated in our neighborhood in downtown Canton, because we need more symphony here, and it's incredible. And you guys are just doing it. You're not just doing it; you're doing it perfectly, right? And that's a shout out to you guys, your team. It's awesome. So I guess you're at the Clear at Night schedule in December, because we're going to need you back to talk about that event, and maybe we'll bring on either Georgia from the Palace or somebody from the ballet to to do that episode, because I feel like that's one we got to cover. That's a pretty awesome collaboration. I think we need that on our podcast.
We got to get Matthew on here. Matthew is just wonderful to listen to speak. and especially about this collaboration, because I mean, when we first announced this last year, he was beside himself. And now that we're doing all performances this year, I mean, I know he's just jumping up and down in his seat. So I'm sure he'd be glad to talk to you all.
To him, he's officially taking the chair of the orchestra this year, officially, right?
Yes, he has officially been named the new music director of the Canton Symphony Orchestra.
Congrats, Matthew.
Congratulations,
Matthew. Intro. We got to figure out how to intro clapping. That would be a great addition to our podcast. It's great.
It can't be that difficult.
There's a million sound bites you can use.
Yeah, it's not that difficult.
Video, we'll figure it out. Don't worry.
I have faith in you.
Thank you. I'm glad you.
Well, Nathan, thank you again for coming and joining us and really just embarking all that information on us and sharing everything that you're doing and what's up and coming. And we look forward to talking to you later in December.
Yeah, we'll back. You were back. We'll figure it out. We'll
figure it out.
Your people will contact your people.
Yeah. That's how it is. Even though I'm the people.
You directly.
And we're the people. Yeah. But either way,
but people in the budget. So we'll
there's a couple different personalities
nobody does.
Yeah.
It's a low budget, no budget podcast over here. So we would just be emailing you directly. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah. That's what we do too.
Mike's my.
You do what you got to do.
Yeah. We are each other's people, and exactly.
Yeah. But thank you guys. It was an honor.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being on.
Thank you. Well, I don't have to do my end of the podcast rant because I already did it. Sorry.
Hey, that's all right. We put some things up on the people.
It just felt right. I just went with it. You see how inspiration of others' passion just sometimes you just can't help it. You're just inspired, and I just needed to remind y'all to go support and do something here.
I hope this is something that people that watch actually go experience, because it is such a cool event to see, local musicians partnered with members of the orchestra. It's just such a cool thing. And so and on Thursday night, like, what else y'all doing, right? They're not even on like weekend days.
And here's the thing.
The most convenient thing possible.
Exactly. And it's starting in October because we're going to start complaining about being cold here and we're not going outside for sure. So this is not an outside activity. You're inside. You can enjoy some good music. Sure, there's good jokes.
That works, I promise.
Exactly. Just come on down, try it out.
Go to cantonsymphonyorchestra.org and grab your tickets. And again, we will definitely have Nathan or Matthew back in December to talk about the ballet and the Nutcracker, because that's super cool. And that's something that we want to discuss. So we will add them to the list.
All right, and make sure you guys get added to our followers if you're not following us on Facebook at Downtown Canton Partnership. And don't forget that the website is up and running at downtowncanton.com. If you need an easy way to find our podcast because you, for some reason, missed all the other episodes, you can get caught up there. There's a link there. It's very simple. Again, simple websites we like. Scroll, click, you'll see us. You kind of can't miss us. It's kind of fun. So scroll down and you will find us. And as always, you can always follow me and Mike on Facebook and your social medias. Let us know some ideas that you guys have of any guests that you were looking forward to that have an event or anything that happened in downtown Canton, or something that people that you want us to seek out to interview and talk to. So we'd love to do that. So make sure you guys stay tuned, and we will be back with another amazing episode next time.
Bye.
Deuces.
Peace.